What is it, and who are you?
Okay. So I'm a HCI researcher like you are, and I really want to do some research in Nigeria.
That's great. I mean, why not? Shoot for the stars.
Oh, thank you. So I was thinking, that I could spend some time with the chiefs, visit the village, really get to know the culture.
Exciting. Doesn't sound bad, but why Nigeria? Why?
It's Africa, baby. I mean,
Well, the absence of sufficient HCI contributions in Nigeria is a valid point, but I don't understand your other reasons. What do you mean by it's Africa?
It's Africa. It's Africa. Kumbaya. Ubuntu. Come on.
I know the meaning of all these words, but I do not get the point.
Africans need Afrocentric interventions, and who's best enough, right, to make this happen than an Afrocentric researcher? I mean, come on.
I see you've got a lot of funding.
15K.
Okay, I hope I get where you're coming from. Well, we need to talk. First of all, Africa has about 54 countries, okay? And Nigeria is just one of them.
I do know, but
Hold on. Relax. I know you're excited.
I didn't come here for a pep talk.
Okay, darling, listen. First of all, it is important that you clarify your objectives and positionality before engaging in any form of research. As a matter of fact, I have written the perfect paper for you. Rub it in my face that you got accepted at Kai. And I'll see you in Japan next year. But I'll see you too. But back to what I was saying. It is not enough to scream and yell Afrocentric research when you don't even know anything about it other than it involves Africa. I mean, you won't understand. The only thing black about you is your color. So knowing Kumbaya and Ubuntu is a great thing, but fortunately, it does not even disqualify you from doing research here. You just have to reevaluate. Okay, so give me a few minutes to explain everything to you, alright? It is great and important to do stuff for Africans, especially since we have a lot of marginalized communities and we are still, suffering or dealing with the aftermath of colonization. You just hit the right spot. Colonization. I want to return to our culture and ensure that all our HCI related contributions reflect our culture. But most importantly, everything brought by white man. Let's go. I must say I'm really impressed by your energy, but you've got to let me land. Colonization, as we both know, resulted in the propagation of harmful ideologies and concepts, such as racism, for example. But one of the things that bothers us as researchers is that our institutions and academic practices are based on these concepts. So this is why Asante championed Afrocentricity.
Afrocentrism.
No, Afrocentricity. You've got to read that paper. Why does it matter? Because while he did a great thing in shouting that Africans like me and you could be objects of research and not subjects, his advocacy was based on the premise that we have lost our sense of agency, we are delusive, and somehow inherently unconfident because of colonization.
Oh, God forbid.
Stop it. Please read and have a constructive argument or something, or agreement or something.
Tim, just go on.
Thank you. So Afrocentricity basically is a paradigm influencing research and design practices. It attempts to challenge structures founded on colonization so as to encourage, Africanness. We don't want to create solutions focused on racism and other disparities. But like I said before, there are limitations associated with this paradigm, right? So for example, the recurring focus on recentering on blackness. Are you black?
I mean,
phenotypically. Have you ever experienced racism? It is hard to say you're black, Your dad is European, your mom is mixed race, and that's where you get your Nigerian genes from. But like I said before, you have every right to be pro-Africa, even though you don't look like me. I mean, obviously. And that's something that Afrocentricity doesn't even give you room to do. It's not flexible with. Yeah. So with Afrocentricity, there is this hyper focus on blackness, and there's this emphasis on we don't know who we are because we were colonized kind of thing, I'm not denying that any of these things are saying that
it's true,
right? I am pro decolonization, but the effect of this paradigm is that it encourages essentialism, all right? You have to check that out. You will experience exclusionary risks because you do not fit the African profile or there's some kind of stereotype, all right? This paradigm also doesn't encourage some sort of cultural assimilation, all right? So if you believe in something that is, not regarded as authentic to be African, you are not African enough. And the list goes on and on and on. It's in my paper.
Yes. This is really interesting.
Yeah, so every time you say you are doing Afrocentric research, you've got to let us know where your head is at.
There are many people doing research in Africa. What do you have to say about that?
There is a difference between doing research in Africa and doing research with Africans for Africa, doing research inspired by Afrocentricity or any other paradigm in Africa. You actually need to be clear.
I'm confused. What are you saying?
Significant HCI research has been conducted in Africa, right? So several of them have stated their positionalities, but when they do not, and they just use the adjective Afrocentric, it could be saying anything, all right? And it's oftentimes Afrocentricity that is inspiring all this research. That is usually the inspiring paradigm, right? The unfortunate disadvantage of this is that if we want to make context-specific solutions, we have to deconstruct our mindset towards that context, starting with not thinking, all right, that your target audience does not really know who they are because they were colonized.
I don't think that way. I don't.
Maybe you don't, but you may have certain implicit biases, okay? Say, for example, you're trying to save the Nigerian healthcare system through some sort of speculative design approach, right? And you tell your participants to draw a superhero and what it means to them, right, with regards to their health. So most of them will draw superheroes. Let's assume that most of them draw superheroes that look like Flash and Batman and Superman, and they've named them fancy white names in quote. Will you be dumbfounded?
I will, because it doesn't sound African.
Exactly. You were expecting some African sound or look.
What are you driving at?
The mere fact that you questioned the feedback you received as a researcher because you doubted its authenticity and Africanness is a problem.
I mean, look at Black Panther. It's beautiful. It's amazing, but I think I get you because my grandma will be confused.
Okay, see, you were screaming Ubuntu, 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 right? It's a beautiful, beautiful concept, but not every African society shares the same communal values. I personally can't, right? So if you approach every African context with this mentality, you're trying to set up Ubuntu ethics in a remote Nigerian village, or you want to use those things, for example, in AI, you're setting yourself up for failure.
So what's the solution?
Just like with my superhero example, you should be open to feedback that doesn't fit the African stereotype and consider it as African itself. Let me talk to you. See, it's just a suggestion, but in my paper I said Afro-postmodernism, right? This paradigm will promote a culturally immersive, intellectual African perspective while mitigating limitations associated with Afrocentricity, right? So basically, while we are trashing racism and other negative outcomes of colonization, we are encouraging representation, cultural assimilation, dynamic growth, and even Western concepts, all right, that have practical efficacy in our African communities.
Dude, you're gonna...
I know, but what I'm just saying is, some of these Western concepts, all right, may have colonial origin, but do they work in our African context?
Okay.
Is it currently working? Can we look at it and say, hey, let's remove the bad and improve on what's left, other than just trashing everything because, hey, this is of colonial origin? I know. That's why I want you to read the paper, right? So I may be wrong, right? But I'm just challenging us to be more intentional. If you want to do research in Nigeria, all right, leave East and Southern Africa alone. Treat your work on a case-by-case basis, all right? So you want to have interviews, right? By the time you follow the framework that I have proposed in my paper and you get to stage 3, you might just realize that, hey, instead of conducting interviews, I'm supposed to be dancing to get my data, something like that. It could be anything. Don't worry. This isn't generalizable, okay? So more so, I thought of so many limitations while talking to you, all right? But hey, I hope this helps. Just read it, all right? Just read it, and we could talk more from there. All right.
Well,
thank you.